Awesome.
Got it.
Hi, Rahul. Thank you for joining us today at Urban Asian. We appreciate your presence. So today we're going to dive into your new project, and then we're also going to talk about what drives you as a thespian. And then we have a bunch of fan questions that we're going to go through. So yeah. But first, I want to
Thank you
send
so
a
much, Hazel.
hearty congratulations because your fans have let us know that your show, Ishq Mein Marjawan, is still winning international awards. They just won a bunch in Vietnam. So yeah, so your fans just wanted to say congratulations on their behalf. So yeah.
Oh, I want to sort of thank them for all the love and all the efforts these people make. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's because of them that, the show has done well. Today we being interviewed and all of those things. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of going off of that, so that show was a huge success. It's been off, I think, for 6 months or so. And would you say it's one of like the highlights of your career, kind of what will be like a benchmark for future projects to compare to?
Of course, of course. There's no doubt. It'd be criminal if I say it's not the highlight of my career. My career has been very short. If you look at it, I'm very new. I'm nascent as far as the industry standards are concerned, and at times I believe I'm very raw also, which is again a little scary because I think I need to fine tune a few things. But irrespective, if the show is doing well and it sort of brings you so much love and affection and awards and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, who wouldn't love that?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I guess, is there any kind of pressure when you pick your next project? Because that was like one of the biggest things that you did. So now when you're handed or you're out sent offers, is there any kind of pressure that will this next thing be as big, or will it feel your inner actor as much? So does any of that come into play when you're deciding what you want to do next?
I I believe very strongly in vibes. So if if I happen to do a marjama, it was because of a vibe. It was because of a certain instinct in me, a certain voice in me telling me to go for it. And I think all my work, everything before that, I did Raja Beta. I wanted to do it, and prior to that, I think I did Twisted. That was also a very strong vibe. So I I understand when you say, there could be pressure and that you could have a lot of thoughts going into whether you should pick this one or not pick this one. I think I'd rather stick with the vibe or the inner voice at the end of the day and go with what my gut tells me. And if it sounds good, if it feels good, and if it moves me, then I can simultaneously gives me the strength to move other people with whatever I pick and choose. If I'm not feeling it, how can I expect other people to feel it? So yeah, it's a very simple logic for me. Just go with the instinct and let's see what happens. It might not do well, which is okay. You have to be prepared for the failures too. But it's more likely to do well if the vibe is right.
That's it's a very interesting perspective. Speaking on failure, so I was watching this interview with Irfan Khan, and he talked about how, as a child, he had this massive failure when he was doing something, and that caused him to be an introvert. And because of that, he was able to observe, people, what they did, their actions, reactions, and as when he became an actor, a lot of that helped kind of figure out what he puts into his performance. So for you, I guess, has there ever been a failure in your life that has kind of, like when you look back at it, you think to yourself, wow, because of that, I have learned so much as an actor, or that really helps my performance?
I wouldn't want to sort of you know put my entire past as like some it was a very tragic thing. It wasn't. But let's just take it in a sense where I'm a very sensitive individual, and even the silliest of things could make me think about a lot of things. Okay, I could really be delving very deep into a lot of aspects if somebody said, "Oh, you're so ugly." Okay. Now it's a very simple thing. A lot of people would just brush it off. Now, as a child, I would really take that very seriously, and I felt the need to always be accepted by people. And I'm strictly, I I was thinking about it off late, and I realized that all my life I was looking for that acceptance, that people should love me, people should like me, and people should appreciate me for who I am. And it has never happened. And I realized the only block to all of that was me myself. So it was sort of a very let's call it an epiphany, but it sort of dawned upon me that I'm the only blockage to whatever good that is to me, and I should appreciate whatever little good I have in life. So yeah, I wouldn't want to call it a failure, but there have been a lot of instances in my life where things have led me to believe otherwise.
Okay. Do you think because of that, it definitely helps when you're like doing a part, that action reaction part to it, being open to that, realizing when you had that epiphany?
I just had it very recently, so I,
Oh,
I think
okay.
the future projects might. I think the future projects might see a hint of a little bit of an improvement somewhere. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's that.
That's really interesting. Speaking more about performances, so when you did Vansh, you had a certain cadence for that character. There was like a certain diction, even the way you said like sweetheart, it was very consistent throughout the performance. So when you're doing someone like Kabir, obviously you don't want him to be like Vansh. It's a different character, very unique. So what kind of research goes into developing that diction, that cadence, that like body language, that behavior so that it's unique to Kabir?
I think with Vansh, they were very clear about it would be a lion. The
Okay.
character is a lion. Okay, and now I was like, so in Hindi they call it. They said sher hai. Okay,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I'm asking them whether it's a tiger or it's a lion, and they said no, a lion. And I said, does he have a big mane? He's like, yeah, probably. And when he walks with that essence of that cat that he doesn't care about a lot of things. So that was my basic core structure, because in a television show you can't really delve into the arc because it changes. It changes very frequently.
Yeah, yeah,
So I just wanted to keep a little structure into everything we do so that it has its own separate space. It is remembered, or it's seen differently than the other people in the house, in the family. So I went and I researched on lions and how they talk. They obviously don't talk, they roar. So I figured that if we could use the roar very specifically in our dialogues, how could we do that? So that is where the baritone came into picture, and I took classes for that, and we sort of nailed that everything. Like he would do a na, so that na came from a lion's roar.
that's so cool.
So we
Okay.
keep that. So that's how we sort of developed the entire. So the sweetheart also was like it was a lion roaring sweetheart. So with everything, in
Yeah,
every essence of that character, I just thought of a lion, and if a lion would do it, how would he do it?
that is so cool. But it was very consistent because, like you said, the character had layers. There were different tracks that were introduced. So obviously the character has different,
Change.
shades. Yeah. So then for Kabir, I guess did you go with an animal this time? Did you go with like, I know some actors like to pick like a perfume or a scent that they most associate with the character.
No, actually, for Kabir, I didn't do any prep, to be honest. I wanted to keep it because I see it's what hits you when you read a part. If it feels like you should do something about it, and there are certain parts you feel like no, let it be, let it happen, let it be in that moment, because the story is fine. The story is absolutely fine.
Okay.
Okay. If you just ride the story well, if you just ride the wave of the story, ride the emotion of the story well, I think it will do the job. You don't have to necessarily always go out and do something every time for a part.
So then does
I
like,
just wanted to keep him very kiddish, like a college going boy, not very thoughtful, not very, maybe a little immature,
okay, that's very
because the
interesting.
role was
Yeah.
there.
But
Yeah.
so then like, okay, I'm really interested by this. So like you did it for like a month, right? Like the shooting was about a month, correct?
No, no,
Or
no, no, no. We shot it in 3 days.
3 days, really? Oh
Yeah,
wow.
we finished it
Okay.
in 3 days.
So
It's a short film.
I don't know. I always assumed it would be a lot longer. Okay. So one of my questions was when you do something like that, then does like day one, is your perception different than day two and day three now that you've done more of the character arc? Or was it because it was
That could happen.
okay?
And by day three, you're like regretting, oh shit, what did I do on day one?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, that happens, but you can't really help that.
But not for this part. You were fine. It was very consistent. You were like, I went with
I,
this. I feel confident.
it would be an overstatement to say that I'm very convinced or I'm. There is no end to perfection. There is no end to how beautifully something could have been done. And I think where I really screwed up was the dubbing aspect of the film. If not for that, I think I was almost
Okay. Well, once we see it, we'll know. But I'm pretty confident you probably did really well. So I have a quick question about the story. I know you've done interviews and you said you were attracted to the story, which is why you picked up this project. What were some traits about Kabir that you saw that you were like, oh, I'm very intrigued to play this? Because Vansh, very great character, very intense. Even in Twisted, your character was, shades of gray, very, very different. So then when you go into here, was there something or certain traits where you were like, I haven't played this, I want to try this?
well, I think one aspect of the whole part was that it was supposed to be a Kashmiri Pandit, and I'm a Kashmiri Pandit. So I was like, oh my God, I have always thought of and I have always criticized people who have played Kashmiris, and they never got it right. And when I did it, I realized, oh shit, even I didn't get it
No, don't say
right. So
that.
yeah, I mean, but as far as I like the whole the intensity. See, it's not like Vansh, but he's still intense,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that is why he's intense. He loves, but he's still different. And I think the very, if I must say, if I must put it that way, I think the very, uh, be a very young, immature, raw kid with very volatile emotions. And that's how you are in college. And it's a different game altogether. And with the premise and the whole background of this person, I like the way his life changes and whatever he does, and for whatever reasons he does.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because fans were like, if you could tell us in one word what Kabir like could be described as, I'm guessing you probably couldn't pick one word, right?
Uh, no, I don't think.
Yeah, I
I
would
would
too.
want to call him, I would want to compare him to Majnu.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. So for my next question, very curious because I have read different interviews from different actors. I remember like Shah Rukh Khan once said that there are certain genres that he has inhibitions playing because he feels like it would alienate part of his audience or part of his fans. And then recently I read an
Mhm.
interview where another really popular television star said he only likes playing happy parts or morally correct roles because that's what he connects to and that's what he feels his audience connects to. So, as you as an actor, are there anything that you're like, I can't do this genre or I can't play this part because my audience just would reject it immediately?
Okay, I would have a different perspective, and I understand why the people you named said the things they said, and it's not something incorrect. I totally understand the fear of losing your audience and not sort of appealing to your genuine fans and people who have always sort of loved you and appreciated you. I don't necessarily think I'm that huge,
No, don't say
or
that.
I don't think I need to be so worried whether my audience will like it or not, because I think the world is my audience. I can put I if I don't sort of click with this set of people, I might click with somebody else. If not them, then somebody else. There will always be somebody or the other who would want to watch something of that sort. Now, okay, that's from the audience's perspective. Let's keep the audience's perspective aside, because let's keep it aside and let's just look at it from my perspective. Whether I am comfortable doing it or not is a separate question altogether. Whether it's my genre, it's not my genre, or morally correct. I understand the sort of responsibilities that actors have to, sort of, it comes to them unnecessary. I think so. At times they're put at a pedestal where if they do something amoral, sort of people associate that with them. And I understand that fear. But I think I'm too young, and I think I can take those risks. And if it goes sour, then it goes sour. If it goes haywire, then it goes haywire. I think I'm ready to take those risks in life.
Okay, so then piggybacking off of that, what is the next genre that you haven't done that you would love to try?
I think um, a romantic comedy,
Okay, you haven't done a rom-com yet, correct?
not a rom com, not a rom
Okay.
com. I think it's something that it sort of itches somewhere in my little heart. It's like, come on, you need to pick that romantic comedy and you need to do this one little thing at least
Is
once.
there a romantic comedy that's like very close to your heart?
Lots, not close to my heart. I think um, I don't know. I mean, I won't know what to like. Have you seen Vanilla Sky?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a romantic comedy though, right?
I know. But if you look at a certain aspect of that film, you realize it's a funny film in the initial chunks of it.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is a lot of romance and there is a lot of comedy. It's funny. The character's funny, so is the girl, Penelope Cruz. It's good, and suddenly it takes a turn, and that's what storytelling is all about. You
Yeah, yeah.
cannot really stick to genres like, okay, I want to do a romantic comedy, and throughout the film, from the start to the end, all you're doing is romantic comedy. It will have its ups and downs, and that's how a story will be told. But yeah, so yeah, that's I think I don't want to like you can't really pinpoint and this is the romantic comedy I would like to or not to. Maybe a teen, college going teen drama where 10 things I love about you. I
Oh, I
really love
love
Heath Ledger.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, absolutely love that one. Okay, so going into some of your background, so you're not like a traditional kind of actor that went to acting school, always wanted to be that. I believe you were an engineer before. So very right brain person. So was it always like, was there like a performance you saw and you were like, I want to do that, or that's what inspired you to be an actor, or what was something that was like, I really want to do this?
Well, I think mm, I never sort of thought of becoming an actor. I don't think it's been a remote thought in my head. And while I was growing, I was a teenager. I once I started going to college, I remember I wanted to be a model, and that never happened.
That's not
But
true.
it never happened. So it never happened.
Weren't you didn't just
But
like do
yeah,
a bunch of modeling gigs while you were still like working, I believe, right? Or maybe I misread
no,
that.
no. I never did it. I never did any ramp walks, and it was my biggest dream that I would just go and walk the ramp, and everybody just looks at me, and I'm gonna walk their poker face, and everybody's gonna love what I do, and all of that. So yeah, that was the thought. And then I think it was that time when I saw Rain of Fire. Uh, I think
With
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Rain of Fire, and I'm like, dude, I gotta do something like that in life.
That's so
And I was like, oh shit, what did this guy just do? And then I saw a few other films, and I suddenly sort of, and then I saw Sin City. Sin City,
oh,
I
that's
don't know
a
if it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the first part. And that is when I realized, oh shit, these things are sticking to me. And now I'm just being like these characters in the movies. And why am I acting like them? And that's my first taste of what it would be to be so influential or to just go out and just say a baritonish dialogue and to have people giggle and laugh and have butterflies in their stomach. So
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
that was the first time I realized, wow, this is something we can do in life.
Oh my God. That's those are some really good movies you listed off. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into some of the fan questions. Okay, so in an interview, you mentioned that you don't watch any of your shows. Is that true?
I don't, I don't.
Oh, so then I guess the follow-up is then how do you evaluate your work? Like, do you get feedback from people around you or
I I think I'll tell you honestly, if you're feeling it, you feel it in the moment, and you know how you've done a scene.
okay.
Okay. And once you're out of it, you know how much there you were, or if you weren't there at all, or if you're just faking it all throughout. I've had scenes where people have told me it was a great scene, and I knew it was not felt one bit. And I've had scenes where I've given in everything I had in my from the core of my heart, from the core of my soul, and people told me what a bad actor you are. So I have never been able to differentiate what people like or what people don't like. The idea is you can try and do it as good as you can and then just forget it.
Okay, very interesting. So I know you have other talents apart from acting. You are a singer, I believe. So are there any, I mean, I've seen videos of you with the guitar playing. So a lot of people asked if you could sing for us, but I'm not going to ask that. Um,
Thank you.
but if by any chance, if you do want to jump into song and dance, go for it. But do you have any plans to do other things in the entertainment industry? Do you want to like write, produce, maybe do some, audio content?
I've never actually given it a thought, and honestly, certain things have sometimes crossed my mind, but I think intrinsically, I was built to just do what I actually want to do. I only want to act. I don't want to even think about a second option that, okay, if I don't act, maybe I can do what, maybe I can become a dubbing artist or I don't know, a director's AD, assistant director, something. I don't want to do any of that. Maybe somewhere down the line, if I feel the need, why not? But right now, in this phase of my life, I just want to actually go and act and tell heart-touching stories.
Do you have like ever have like a epiphany where you're like, this is my dream project, like this is the one thing I want to accomplish as an actor before I retire?
I hope that never happens.
You don't want to have that epiphany?
Because if I do my dream project, if I do my best work, what is there left to do?
True, true, true.
What do I
Um,
wake up to the next day and say, okay, now what?
okay. That's a good perspective, yeah. Okay, and then let's see. In your interviews and Instagram posts, you demonstrate a lot of knowledge of self actualization, and its
Mhm.
attainment. So, how well do you believe you're on practicing or achieving that?
I think
It's a very
as
deep
far as
question.
I I don't think I've sort of demonstrated any sort of intelligence or wisdom or anything. I think this question is asking me about the spiritual quotient of my life. I'm guessing that's what it's aiming at. I is it?
That or like, I think people think you're really into philosophy. Um, a lot of your fans seem like you have a great knowledge of yourself and the world around you.
No, like I said, I think
Okay.
it comes from a lot of analysis and whatever happens in the past and a lot of things. So I don't think there's anything very great about that. Nothing very special.
And then do you have a motivation mantra that you like say to yourself, or you have like,
Uh, I I'll tell you, I don't really have like a mantra or something. I don't believe in the whole be positive and kill it today and let's go for the grind and all that stuff that's coming up, very woke stuff that's coming up. Oh, do this, do good, and good inside and great outside. Something on those lines. Work hard, work 26 hours, but I don't advocate any of that. I don't believe in unnecessarily pushing. It's very good to be positive. It's very good to be optimistic in life, but I don't want to unnecessarily push certain things because I believe it's overdone at times. My biggest motivation comes from the people around me. And when I say the people around me, I mean the world around me. Every time I'm out and I look at people who are probably sleeping on roads, and there are people begging, there are kids who don't have education, who don't have clothes, who don't have food. There is so much in this world that we see and we realize, oh, we're very lucky to have whatever we have. But now that we have this opportunity, I think we need to do better here so that someday, when we have achieved our little bits in our lifetimes, we can actually start doing, expanding our realm and start doing something for these very people who don't have what we have. So that is the only thing that keeps me motivated.
that is actually a good thing to be motivated by. So yeah, totally agree with you there. And then just a hypothetical question. Let's say any studio executive came to you anywhere in the world, right? And said, pick the show that you want to be on. What would be that one show? Like anywhere in
Pick
the
the
world.
show.
Yes, that's currently on air.
That's currently on air.
Yes,
Am I watching something that's on air? This is anywhere in the world,
anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be India. It can be anything. It can be South
right?
Korea,
But this has to be a TV show.
or you can pick like a. I mean, I don't know if there's a movie you want to do instead, but I figured you would. I don't know if there's like a TV show that you're addicted to or you're binging right now that you really love.
Uh, I haven't watched anything of late. I think one show that I really loved, it's not on air right now, and it got great writing, great writing. First few seasons at least was Mad Men, and I was really hooked on to it. I think John Hamm really nailed it, and yeah, it was something very, very, very intense. I think that's when I got my first cue of being intense. Shut up. Just
That's so
John
funny.
Hamm being himself. Can you please be a little quiet? You just him smoking and just saying his lines, and he could barely speak with all that smoke in his throat, and just delivering. I think that was very something that stuck with me for a while.
Do the accents come very easily to you? Like changing the accents?
I think yeah,
Oh
but I
wow.
need to work on them now. I need to sort of get better at them. I think I've exhausted my little fair share of whatever bank of accents I had. I need to do better now.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say, like, were you like went to school in like the States or something? Because when you were speaking, it was very like American English. So I was like, oh, this is very.
Exactly, that's the whole problem. I don't have a passport. I've never ever stepped out of India.
You know, you have so many fans internationally that want you to come and visit so many countries.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on that. But all my inspiration in life has come from movies. So and it's been mostly Hollywood because that's what I was introduced to. And yeah, so that's how that happened.
Do you remember
Then
the?
hence the accent.
Oh, okay. Do you remember the first Hollywood movie you ever saw? Like the first
Yeah,
vividly.
Terminator 2.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Sweet. And then I have one final question. This is like a hateful question because I saw your Instagram feed. I'm from Chicago, 90s baby.
Oh, lovely.
You're a
Wow.
huge MJ fan. So I want to know, when was the moment you discovered MJ?
I think I was in class two or class one maybe, and Michael was playing. I think he just returned from I don't know from his retirement when he was out playing baseball or
Baseball.
something,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he came back and he was struggling against the Orlando Magic. And I was very small, and it was just coming on television, and I realized this guy's good, but he's not able to do what he wants to do. And that's me as a kid. And the next year, obviously, he went on to win the title and then two
Like
more
three
after
in a
that.
row. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's. I've been a big fan of Kobe and Michael and all NBA stars back in the '90s. So I used to really look up to Iverson. And there was a time when I really wanted to buy the answers, the shoes that
Oh
were
my
launched by
God.
Reebok. Yeah, yeah, the pumps, but
Do they
I never
have
had that
those
kind of money.
in India?
I think they get those retro models now. So you have answer five or answer four retro these days.
Man, that's so cool. That's so cool that people like internationally can like connect on that level because I don't think I've ever met anyone that like, oh, I love basketball. I'm like, okay, that's like a very unique
Which is right.
thing to connect with. So yeah. And then finally, do you have any final messages for your fans about the show or anything that you want to talk about?
I just I think I would want to thank them with all my heart and with with whatever little soul I have left in me. I just want to tell them that I'm very grateful for all the support and all the love that I have received for Ishq Mein Marjawan and the way they have, sort of pushed me in my career to different heights. It's for times immemorial now, and I'm very glad I'm here. If they have the time, if they find some time in from their busy schedule to watch Ishqiyaat, I think it's a short film. It's very short, 30 odd minutes, and I don't think it's going to be a bad watch. It's a sweet story, and I think everybody's going to like it. So please do watch it. Yeah.
We definitely will. Thank you so much for joining us and enlightening our day. Good luck with everything. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much, Hetal. You're looking absolutely stunning. I wish
Oh
you
my
all the
gosh.
best
Thank you. Thank
in
you.
all your pursuits.
Thank you. Appreciate it.